Hi. Today we're going to go ahead and continue with crochet socks. I know a lot of you don't knit, and that's okay. Crochet can make just as pretty things as knitting, only in a different way. So we did the heel, and this was our heel video that we did last time. But today, let me push this aside. Today what we're going to talk about is the toe, and there's several ways you can make a toe. What I've done is I've used some sock yarn, and it's very thin. Let me show you the difference. Here we go. This is worsted yarn, and this is sock yarn. So you can see there's a difference in how thick they are. And if you want to make traditional socks, you'll use sock yarn. You can crochet with sock yarn. Generally, when you crochet with sock yarn, you'll use one of two needles. I'm using a 0 stainless steel, and this is usually used to crochet thread, but it's really nice with sock yarn. The other size you can use is a size B, and those are usually the colored ones, and they're more like this, but I don't have a B, so I'm going to use the 0. When you do a crocheted sock toe, you can do it two ways. You can either do a very round one, which means that you're crocheting in a circle until you get so big, and then you start to go you increase to make it big and round, but then you start to just knit around. Now this is different. This is not a round. This is more like a triangle, and when you put it on your foot, it fits fairly nicely. But what we do is we cast on a magic circle, and then we knit around, and then we take one side and the opposite side, and we increase 4 stitches on each of these sides. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to let that sit there so you can kind of keep seeing it, give you an idea what you're working towards. And I'm going to use some white yarn. I've kind of done the pattern for you. I don't have it on my website. I have it here. So basically you can write this down as we go, or I'm just going to leave it here, and you can kind of write it down as you want to. You can stop this video and do it, or you can write it down as we go. Okay, so when I crochet, I'm kind of different. When I knit, I have my yarn on my right hand side, but when I crochet, I have it on my left hand side because I have the yarn coming through my left hand, and I basically thread it over these 2 fingers and then this, and then I start crocheting. But when you're going to do the magic loop, what you want to do is you want to have a big enough tail that, and I use these fingers because my pointer, my index finger, is kind of controlling the tension. And so what I'll do is I will actually wrap that around those 2 fingers. Let me do that again. If you have enough tail, I actually wrap it around these 2 fingers, and I'll hold it with my thumb. So then you'll want to put your needle, your crochet hook, underneath and pull yourself a thread. And I know this looks odd because it's coming through, but then you want to crochet through it. And after you've crocheted that first one, you want to make sure and hold these 2 yarns, part of your circle and then your tail, so that you can hold them together. And we're going to put 7 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the tail end, we're going to pull, and you'll watch it starts to close up your circle. I don't close mine completely. I leave a little bit of a hole there, but I will go ahead, let me get that tail out of the way. I will go ahead and I will slip stitch, just like you do regular crochet, into that first stitch. Now, once I have that first stitch slip stitched, then I'll go ahead and yank that tail, and you see the more you pull that tail, the smaller that hole becomes until the hole is basically gone. And this is a lot nicer than doing a single crochet and then crocheting into the single crochet. Sometimes when you do a single crochet and start crocheting in it in a circle, you'll still have a gap. So this closes it up very nicely, and you can tighten it up even more so that you can barely see it. So remember, we have 7 stitches here, and once you've closed that up with a slip stitch, you want to do a single chain, because that's going to get you from the first row up to the second row. And then you want to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you want to go ahead and make 2 crochets in each stitch. So where I've joined it is actually where I'm going to start my first stitch. So I want to do 1, 2, and you're going to do that around 3, 4. So you're doing 2 single crochets in each of the bottom row. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So you should have 14 stitches. You've doubled them. Now you want to go ahead and find that first stitch and you want to do a slip stitch in that. So you've closed up that second round. And again, each round that you finish, you'll finish with a slip stitch in the first stitch, and then you will do 1 chain to go to the second row. So what we've already done is we've done our 7 single crochets, and we've done our 2 single crochets, and so we have 14 stitches. So we're on to chain number 3, and we've chained 1, so we're going to do 2 single crochets in that first stitch. And again, remember, the first stitch is where you've done your connection. You've done your slip stitch. So there's 1, 2. Now you're going to go ahead and do a single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So I want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in that stitch, and the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So in these 2 stitches, I did 2 single crochets in each. Now I'm going to do 1 single crochet in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so this last one I'm going to do 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my row. So there we go. So you have 4 single crochets on this end and 4 single crochets on this end. And again, we've done row 3. So I want to do it again. I want to chain 1, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 single crochets in my first stitch. And then this one, instead of 5, we're going to do 7. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next 2 are going to get 2 double crochets in each one. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and then the next stitch I'm going to do 2 more. 1, 2, And then I'm going to do each single crochet here, I'm going to do 1 single crochet. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and before you close up that loop, we want to do two double crochets in the last stitch. 1, 2, and then we will connect with a slip stitch. So what you are doing is you're actually making an oval right now. You are making it more stitches here, and these stitches in the middle are just getting crocheted single stitches. Now I continued this pattern until I had 54 stitches, and again I was working with sock yarn, so 54 stitches worked just perfectly to make a toe for me. And it's not perfectly round, it doesn't fit perfectly, but for what you're doing, once you get it on your foot, it's going to conform to your foot a lot, and it's going to take up some of that slack. So I'm going to go ahead and let you do that. Once you get, and usually for a regular foot, it's about 54 stitches around with sock yarn. If you're using bigger yarn, you'll kind of have to just kind of play around with it, try it on every once in a while, and see how far you want to go. And this is worsted, so I might not have to do 54 stitches, but you kind of have to play around with that and see what you have. After you've gotten to where your toe looks about right, then you just keep crocheting around until you're ready to do your heel. And again, we did our heel, and our heel we said was about almost 3 inches. So if you wear a size 10 like I do, and we have to leave 3 inches for the heel, I would stop here at 7 inches before I started my heel. Okay, I hope this has helped you. I'm going to work up a video for when you get to your cuff and you want to do a ribbing. So we're going to have a ribbing class on this too. And I hope this has been helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really glad to do this. I had someone very special asked me to do this for them, and so I've gone ahead and done this. And I will see you next time when we do a ribbing in crochet. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.